Welcome to Fox Valley Today. I'm your host, Anne Vickery. Joining me today, a University of Illinois educator, Laura Barr. Welcome, Laura.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. It's just getting to be that time of year, and I thought maybe a good program would be, let's talk about diet. I mean, really, should we? And then I thought to myself again, is that a good idea? Talk about diet when you're going into the holidays? But maybe some tips about it.
Yeah.
And I see you brought some friends.
Yeah, I did. This is Organ Annie, and her internal organs are displayed.
I love it when you name your characters after me.
And we didn't plan that.
Yeah. Organ Annie.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and I understand going into the holidays, people are going to eat more and they're going to eat richer. That's just a given. But being mindful through the holidays is helpful, because then you don't get, at New Year's Day and go, I just put on 7 pounds. So there's ways to enjoy and there's ways to be moderate. And what we talk about a lot now is mindful eating. Really taste your food. Eat a little bit slower so your body has time to register, hey, I'm getting satiated. Those kind of things. So a lot of times I am a nutrition and wellness educator, and people look at me and they're like, really, whatever, But I have to say it really affects our health. And we brought Annie here just to kind of look at, well, how does it? So a lot of times when you get your blood panel done, they look at your lipid, and cholesterol is a big thing. So they look at that, total cholesterol, HDL, LDL. So that affects the heart, big time. And another lifestyle factor, exercise, really affects the heart, which the power pair here, the heart and the lungs, if you're exercising, you're getting more oxygen, you're feeding your cells, and that's what they need is oxygen and glucose, really. So they're a power pair. If you take care of your heart, your lungs will be stronger. Mm-hmm. Aerobic exercise strengthens both the heart and the lungs. Mm-hmm. So anything that gets our heart pumping faster, which most exercise will do.
I want to back up just a minute. I want to ask you a question. When you talked about cholesterol.
Right.
HDL, LDL.
Yes.
Which one is the good one?
H, healthy.
That's health. H. H is the good one.
Yep.
And L is the bad one.
And it's not, we don't want to say it's bad. There's just, when you go over a certain number, it's more likely to clog arteries, which can contribute to heart disease. So that's what, when they say know your numbers, be in touch with your healthcare provider, know your risk factors.
Okay, and the HDL is what really pushes the cholesterol through, the fat cells through, right?
The HDL tends to be heart protective.
Okay.
So when, again, knowing your numbers, if you're higher, it's a protective factor. So they factor all that in with heart disease. They look at your history, they look at your weight, they look at your cholesterol in your blood, and then there's an equation of, are you mildly at risk, are you not a risk, or are you a high risk? Okay. So the more risky you get, the more lifestyle, and doctors may start prescribing medication to help control some of that, to extend your life. Mm-hmm. So that's important.
And again, exercise raises the HDL, is what you want, a higher number on the HDL.
You do. Exercise makes your heart stronger. The factor that really can raise HDL is diet. So we'd be looking at omega-3 fatty acids, which we could find in fish like salmon and...
How about avocados?
Avocados don't really affect HDL, but what they do have in common is they're a monounsaturated fat, which is the healthiest fat.
I love avocados.
They're very good for you. They're very healthy fat, and fat isn't bad, and carbohydrates aren't bad. We look to consume the healthy ones, because we need all of them. We need to eat carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Okay. So omega-3 fatty acids in the fish help the heart raise the HDL cholesterol.
Are there some fish that is better than others?
Yes. Swimmers are better than crawlers. So when we're looking at shrimp and lobster and the shellfish, clams, they don't raise your HDL. They are high, they're kind of high in cholesterol, but they're still good to eat once in a while. Mm-hmm. But the ones that are helpful are the swimming fish, like salmon, tuna,
grouper,
right,
trout.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. All right.
So those are dietary, dietary means to make the heart stronger. Another thing you can eat for your heart, it's a grain, oatmeal. Oatmeal is known to reduce LDL cholesterol and total cholesterol. So say I go to the doctor and my numbers are high, a doctor might say, let's try diet and come back in, say, 5 weeks and see if these dietary changes make a difference. If they do, great. If not, then prescribing a medicine would be in order. But increasing physical activity, a cardiologist may say eat oatmeal 3 to 4 times a week and eat more fish. And if you do that and it works, you're golden. But if not, you do want to follow the instructions, take that medication, because not only does it protect you from a heart attack, but also a stroke. So nobody wants a heart attack or a stroke.
No. Now, I have to ask you another question. When you talked about oatmeal, brings me to breakfast. There is a commercial on television that says that these particular brand of eggs are a healthier egg to eat. They're lower in cholesterol, lower in fat. Is there a good egg?
Yes. I think most eggs are good. I think when we're eating eggs, we have to remember the yolk is where the saturated fat is. Saturated fat tends to come from animals, mostly. So that would be the fat we see on meat, butter, lard, anything that's kind of solid at room temperature is a saturated fat. And those are more likely to raise up total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. So the white part of the egg is an excellent protein source. Mm-hmm. Even when people are sick in the hospital and they can't digest well, they use egg whites because they're very easily digested and assimilated. Mm-hmm. So you can, if you're going to have an omelet and you're looking at that cholesterol equation, you can take a few yolks out.
Is there protein in whites?
Yeah, it's all protein.
Okay, so egg whites have as much protein as the yolk.
The yolk is all fat. The white is all protein.
No, so it's the white that is the protein, and the yolk is
saturated fat,
but not protein.
Not protein.
No kidding. Oh, I'll have to tell my sister this one. Okay, all right, go ahead.
Okay, so then with the digestive system, you find us educators going, eat your fruits and vegetables, and you probably heard it from your mother. And what we're seeing is research more and more is showing that, yep, historically, more fruits and vegetables are better. A lot of it is they have really good nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and then the tricky words, phytochemicals, antioxidants, which, like antioxidants, when you think of it, there's, with metabolism, there's oxidation and there's free radicals running around. An antioxidant comes and neutralizes it. Mm-hmm. So what that means is they see less cancer or proposing less cancer. What is definitely true is research shows that societies that eat more fruits and vegetables have less colorectal cancer. For sure, that's proven.
Okay.
So, these are kind of cartoon characters, but we have the stomach and the intestines, and really our intestine is kind of like a garden hose, and it's about as long as we are tall. And what fiber does, what's in fruits and vegetables, it goes through and it's like a little brush, cleans out the surface area of the small intestine, which is absorption, so you absorb nutrients better, and then cleans out the large intestine, which is kind of taking out toxins of the body and such. So if you have a clean digestive system, that's kind of your front and center immune function. So a lot of things, great things with fruits and vegetables.
I have a question.
Sure.
I saw a commercial on television last night promoting that a particular orange-colored laxative it is a laxative, and they, rather than saying that it was a laxative, said it promotes you to feel lighter, cleans your body of toxins and rids it. Is that a true statement, or is that just something they tell people to? I mean, I know the purpose of a laxative, and I would guess that if you took it, but they promote this to take it every day.
I would say eat fruits and vegetables and drink water. and that is the best way to be regular. That is
Okay.
the very best. If you are dependent on a laxative, there's something that needs to be addressed, and you'd have to go through your healthcare provider for
To
that.
do that.
Yeah,
Is
but
lettuce a good thing to eat to?
lettuce?
Yeah.
Lettuce, yes.
I mean, I
Lettuce
know
is
there's
good.
not any real beneficial as far as proteins or nutrients, but it is
Well, dark lettuce has a lot of nutrients. We want people to eat their greens,
like
whatever.
the romaine, like the
Like
romaine.
romaine or spinach or kale,
Uh-huh.
or even red leaf lettuce, anything that's darker. People that like iceberg, there's nothing wrong. Iceberg actually has more fiber, but not as many nutrients. It's more water and fiber.
Okay.
So if you don't really like dark lettuce, you can mix them up.
Uh-huh.
Like do half and half of a dark and then half iceberg.
Right.
And that's a good way to kind
I
of.
eat a lot of lettuce.
It's
you
good
know.
for
I
you.
mean, year round. But anyway, okay. So let me not stop. Did you bring the pancreas, patty pancreas?
Well, yes, I did. And where is it? Let's see. It might be in here. I don't think I took
Oh,
it.
it's in. Yeah, there it is.
Yes, see, we pack them up in here. Yes. So the pancreas, and it's National Diabetes Month.
Okay.
So the pancreas, if you have type 1 diabetes, you probably had an immune disease. Your pancreas doesn't make insulin. You have to take it. If you have type 2 diabetes, that's where we can intervene. So sometimes when people are borderline, they can change their diet, exercise, eat healthier. If they're overweight, lose weight, and it self-adjusts. No more pre-diabetes.
Okay.
No more risk. But if that doesn't happen again, you need a healthcare team to help you monitor your glucose. High glucose, chronic high glucose in the blood has serious effects on your eyes, on your kidneys. You don't want to go there. Like over time, you don't want to be on dialysis. You don't want to lose vision.
Right.
It's big stuff. It's not going to be high glucose for one day. It's going to be chronic. So that's when you need a healthcare team to get around you and say, okay, let's try this, see if it works. And that's the thing. When doctors are practicing, they're practicing. Not every person is the same. So one treatment may work for one. So every person that is dealing with a chronic disease needs a healthcare team to figure out what works for them. And it's a little trial and error in the beginning, but once you nail it, you make it a lifestyle and you get your control. And then you get quality and length of life.
Okay, so when you're talking about diabetes, one of the things that they always are promoting, and you see, so there's so many commercials on television anymore dealing with medications, and talk to your doctor about A1C, which is part of this whole diabetic profile thing.
Yeah.
What is an A1C?
An A1C is an average level of blood glucose. So so you can take different readings at different times and get different numbers. So you might have some good days, not so good days, but an average is going to give a healthcare provider an idea of what's been happening for the last 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
So that was kind of the gold standard with A1C, is a person can come in and they know they're going to the doctor, so they're going to do everything right. So they're going to get a blood draw and everything's going to look good. But when you look at that other factor, that A1C, it will give an average.
And that's probably a good test to take for somebody whose family perhaps has a history of that, of diabetes, where you go in once or twice a year and maybe your blood sugar is normal, but somewhere along the line it's spiking and there could be some other problems.
Yes, and I think, again, having a good relationship with your healthcare provider, they're really the expert on the person. They've got your labs, they've got your height, your weight. I like to tell people, have a relationship, be prepared, have your questions, but your doctor needs to hear you out with questions. And there needs to be a relationship where you feel like you can talk openly to your healthcare provider.
Right, and I also think that you need to have your own personal education about that. I mean, if you've talked to your doctor about the fact that there is a history of diabetes in your family, although you don't have it, I think you need to say, we did this blood test, and I did this with my healthcare professional. we did this blood test, even though we talked all about this history of diabetes in my family, but you still didn't test my A1C. And she said, oh, I forgot. Well, let's do this then. And we did, and it was, it was great. But, I think you have to have some self-education on what people should be looking for. Because obviously, doctors can't think of everything. They make a mistake. They don't write something down. You got to stay on it.
Yes, being proactive in your own health is very important.
Right. Is there anything else, Laura, you want to bring up about this before we go to break? And then
well, just really quick, water. Water's big. These are the Kidney Brothers. Water's the best hydrator. I think in our culture right now, we have too many sweetened beverages. It kind of shows in the overweight of our children. And I think, just getting out there and drinking water and being mindful. If you don't like the plain taste, maybe add some citrus to it. Infuse it with cucumbers, strawberries, lemons, limes.
Right.
So that's my little water promotion.
Well, no, and I think you're absolutely right. And even though I was, I'd gone to drinking diet soda years ago, but it got so that if I would drink one on an empty stomach, I would get like this, So I've pretty much given it up.
Yeah.
I just drink more water.
That's very
In fact,
good.
I've gone even back to drinking a little bit of milk, but I drink whole milk. Not a lot.
But your cholesterol is good.
Yeah,
It's
my
all in the
cholesterol.
blood.
My cholesterol is 155 and my HDL was 71.
So you're doing really well.
Yeah,
you can have some whole milk.
Right, a little bit, not a whole lot. We're gonna take a little break. We'll be right back with Laura Barr, and we're gonna be talking to you in case just by chance you need a little lesson on turkey, because we do have that day coming up. We're gonna be talking about it. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that! That's disgusting! Oh, poop already! You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Your son wants to get a cat, but you're allergic. Do you A, prepare yourself, B, make the best of it,
C squared equals
25.
Good job.
or C, find a loophole? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back to Fox Valley Today. I'm here with the University of Illinois educator and nutritionist Laura Barr, and we're going to talk about the best way. And of course, we got all kinds of other things we could talk about. Maybe we could go for an extra hour today, Laura. But tell us a little bit. If I was a first-time turkey cooker, what would you tell me?
There's a few things I would say right up front. So if you get a fresh turkey or a frozen turkey, your fresh is good in the refrigerator for about 2 days. So get it just a few days before Thanksgiving. If you have a frozen turkey, you have to remember the thaw. The thaw is tricky. There's so many people, the first time especially, it's like, oh, I just put this in 2 days before, and they get up in the morning and my turkey is still half frozen. What do I do?
Yeah.
So the equation is for every pound of turkey, it's, for every 5 pounds of turkey, it's 1 day. So if you have a 20-pound turkey, you need 4 days to sit in the refrigerator to thaw. And if it were me, I'd give it another extra day just to pad a little bit. So you have to build that in the week before. Another thing is, if you're having a lot of people, I think it's helpful to ask people to bring things like their favorite dish or what they do well, the cookies, the green bean casserole, the sweet potatoes,
Cranberries,
stuffing, whatever it is. Just take, just kind of, if other people are willing, have them bring something. And if not, you just need more planning.
Right. And you know what? When you're cooking a turkey, it does take it takes some time and thought while that turkey's in the oven. Maybe not the first 2.5 or 3 hours, but after that, it needs to be watched carefully.
Yes.
You don't want to overdo it, but I think that's a good idea, because people start bringing something, it alleviates some of the pressure off for you. Hey, you got to set the table, get everything ready, mix the turkey, the potatoes, the gravy, let them all fill in the blanks.
I think it's helpful.
Yeah, I think it is too.
And then you have people that they just have one thing to bring, and they feel good about it, and it could be their signature dish that the family or the friends know that they do really well.
Now, unless I lost my train of thought there, what do you think about putting the turkey in a bag to cook?
Well, it's helpful. It keeps the moisture in. There's other ways to keep the moisture in, but for first timers, that might be helpful. But with the turkey, like you were saying, it needs to be basted. I think the most important thing I want to say about the turkey is that very delicate balance between getting it hot enough, which is 165 Fahrenheit, and not drying it out. And that's when we look at to stuff or not to stuff the stuffing, because the stuffing, when it's in the turkey, it takes longer to get to that 165 Fahrenheit that we know kills all the bacteria. And not to get gross, but this is a carcass of an animal. There's bacteria in it. You have to kill the bacteria. That is like front and center number important. So with that, if you cook the stuffing outside, easy. If you cook the stuffing in the bird, you have to have your thermometer and you have to take it. Now, most turkeys these days, not all, but most, come with a thermometer that will pop when it gets to 165. That it doesn't mean the stuffing is hot enough if it's in the bird. You have to actually take that temperature. And that would be the worst case scenario on your first Thanksgiving, is to have people get sick.
Well, have bloody dressing could be a first hint. Don't do that. And the other thing is, if you're not cooking the bird, if you're cooking the bird without the stuffing, I think it's important that even if the bird hits like 162, 163, I'll take it out and leave it set, because it continues to cook and it's not overdone.
We like to see 165. That thermometer is not going to pop until it's 165. And then it is important to let the bird set, because it reabsorbs the juices. So when you carve it, it's not like falling apart. You get more of a nice cut. So you let it set for about 30 minutes, but I'd have to say let it get to that
165. Yeah. Well, maybe I've just been lucky. I don't know. Now you have you've brought a couple of other ideas here about making some side dishes that might not be so loaded with calories, which doesn't sound like a bit of fun to me. But anyway, I want to hear about, especially the one with the sweet potatoes with the orange juice and brown sugar, as opposed to butter and white sugar.
Right. So let me preface a little bit, because again, the nutrition person, sometimes we have a reputation, is that feast times are, if you have one day of the year where you put butter on everything, one day a year may be okay. But food can taste good without adding a lot of butter, sugar, and salt. It can. And that's what these recipes look to do. So I'll tell you, I was in an internship at Vanderbilt University, and the dietitian there that was leading the interns told me about this. I was like, I'm having Thanksgiving. What do you think about sweet potatoes? Because I see people put marshmallows and tons of butter and whatever, a lot of things. Some people might even add bacon because people like to add bacon.
No.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding.
Oh no.
But she's just like, Laura, just try this recipe. And it's just calcium fortified orange juice works better because it's thicker, because it has that calcium in it. It's just calcium fortified orange juice, brown sugar to taste. You chop up your sweet potatoes and you just let them bake in about an inch of broth or juice. And over time, that will make a beautiful glaze. Those potatoes will be like tender. They'll melt in your mouth, and you have some brown sugar. But again, if we're adding fat, that's a lot of calories. Then with the mashed potatoes, we're whipping some butter in there. Then we're eating the pumpkin pie and the apple pie with ice cream. I mean, it's just the cumulative effect. So with some of these recipes, maybe take the edge off of the fat and not be consuming so many, like thousands of calories in a meal, or at least 1,000, if not 1,500.
Right, and I mean, you can easily take in 1,500 calories in one meal in one day, which would be, I mean, for most women, it would be the most you should eat in a whole day.
Yes, usually about 1,800 is about average, and then if you're an active woman, anywhere between 2,000 and 22. But yeah, a Thanksgiving, and especially when you add in, if you're doing appetizers and such, we know that we overeat. That's not a news flash, but it is important, like especially with the whole holidays, the last 6 weeks. Some people, get up on New Year's Day, they're like, oh no, I'm 7 pounds heavier. And if you could just maintain your weight through the holidays, that's a win right there.
Yeah, just if you can just hold on, yeah. That's a first world problem, isn't it, to have too much to eat? When you think about the whole world, I mean, we sit and we talk about how much we can stuff ourselves with, where other people are wondering if they can just forage enough to get by for the day.
No kidding.
Yeah, so we do have a first world problem. You had another thing here, mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes. Oh, you're killing me.
I know. And maybe, I will admit, maybe you don't want to do this the first time on Thanksgiving and have it be your first.
Yeah, don't feed your mother-in-law that one. I'm warning you, girls.
But like just for an everyday thing, when you find that you have a lot of complex carbohydrates, say you have sweet potatoes and then you have bread, maybe like a cauliflower dish is good to try. Just give it a shot. And I like it, but I like a lot of things that maybe some people don't like. But you just, you use the same little bit of butter, a little bit, as I said, and then whatever you like to flavor. If you like dill, if you like garlic or onion. And the cauliflower does, when you mash it, it does get that kind of fluffy kind, and it's white.
Texture,
yeah. So again, I wouldn't recommend you try it on your first Thanksgiving meal and you're going to try to sell it to a crowd. But work with it a little bit, because cauliflower is healthy, and certainly white potatoes are healthy, but Americans get enough starchy food. That's not our problem.
Okay, I'll give up the rolls, but I'm not giving up the mashed potatoes.
Okay.
That's just the way it's going to be.
And
you
that's
know what?
fine.
You could taste test me. You could put all you wanted to with cauliflower, but I'm going to know the difference.
Probably. They do taste a little different.
But I do think that is a good alternative. And you know what? If you can start kids off eating those healthier things, even though maybe it's not something you're crazy about, you're going to make it better. Laura, thanks so much for coming by. We got to get you back here because I got all kinds of questions. Thanks for joining Fox Valley today. We'll see you next time.